Discover the touching truth, a little girl's unbelievable request for her sick mom's smile at my. Emma slumped against the counter, the hum of the fluorescent lights droning in her ears as she sorted through an avalanche of bills from the hospital. The long hours at the ER drained her energy, but it was the mental exhaustion of caring for her ailing mother that twisted in her gut like a dull blade. Just then, Lily's bright eyes cut through the haze of responsibility, her tiny hands clutching a frayed doll as she approached with an innocent smile. "Mommy," she said with a youthful optimism, "can you make a smile like hers for Grandma? She really needs it right now." Emma's heart twisted painfully at Lily's hopeful request. Guilt flooded her veins. How could she make her mother smile when everything felt so heavy? Emily's illness had overshadowed their lives for years, a relentless storm that raged while Emma juggled the demands of her job, her daughter's innocence, and her mother's endless needs. The guilt of not being enough, the fear of failing both her mother and daughter choked her. The weight of expectation pressed down. Emma's fingers trembled as she buried them deeper in the pile of bills, wishing she could shield Lily from the harsh reality of their life. If only she could conjure joy from thin air. Yet even the thought felt impossible when every corner of their home was filled with reminders of illness, disappointment, and unfulfilled dreams. Emma knew that Lily deserved laughter, carefree moments, but she found herself drowning in responsibilities, the air thick with a longing for better days. As Emma fought against the crushing pressure, her heart raced with the thought of something she recently unearthed while cleaning the attic, a dusty art box packed with forgotten paintings, evidence of her mother's lost creativity and vibrant spirit. Emily had once painted with wild abandon, colors splashed across the canvas like sunlight on a spring day. But those days had faded, tucked away beneath the weight of life's burdens. Now, that talent remained buried alongside joys long abandoned. Emma hesitated. Revealing this hidden piece of her mother's identity, would it feel like violation or a lifeline? Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As days dragged on, Emily's condition worsened. Each hospital shift blurred into the next, a never-ending cycle of offering care to others while returning home to a mother who needed all of Emma's strength. Pressure coiled tighter around her chest, mixed with desperation that gnawed at her mind. Could she muster the courage to share the art, unlock that part of Emily? Would her mother view it as a betrayal or a pathway to healing? Emma's heart raced with the dawning realization they could harness that art for healing, for hope. Each breath felt closer to the brink. Tension ignited within her as she discovered Emily's art box nestled in the attic shadows, the dust swirling around like fragmented memories of better times. What a gift it could be for both of them, a precious chance to reclaim joy or to shatter her mother's self-pride altogether. Emma stood frozen, the ticking clock echoing loudly as time slipped away. The question loomed large. Would she dare to expose her mother's vulnerability, risking everything for just a moment of joy? The air crackled with unresolved angst, the walls closing in, leaving doubt hanging heavy as she faced the crossroads of their lives with the clock ticking down ominously. Emma paced the narrow kitchen, her feet tracing the worn tiles as she wrestled with her thoughts. The art box loomed large in her mind, heavy with potential and uncertainty. Could it truly bridge the gap between her mother's suffering and the happiness they craved? A part of her felt selfish even considering it. What if this moment of vulnerability plunged Emily deeper into despair? But deeper still was the nagging realization that they couldn't continue as they were, shackled by silence and illness. She glanced toward the living room where Lily played, her laughter painting colors onto the gray canvas of their life. Emma envisioned sharing the art with her mother. The possibility sparked an ember of hope within her. It was a distraction from the realities that suffocated them, a lifeline to the woman she remembered. Yet, the more Emma contemplated, the sharper her fear became. Would Emily rebuke her for unearthing buried memories, or could this be the path to healing both of their hearts? That evening, after a long shift at the hospital, Emma returned home with a heaviness that contrasted starkly with Lily's joyful spirit. The little girl raced to embrace her, a burst of warmth in an otherwise chilly reality. "Mommy, can we do something special for Grandma?" Lily's eyes glimmered with the kind of hope Emma found increasingly difficult to feel. Emma hesitated, her mind already wandering toward the attic, the art box waiting, beckoning her to take a chance. "How about we paint a picture together?" The decision slipped from her mouth, surprising even herself. Lily squealed with delight, and for the first time in days, Emma felt a ripple of anticipation mix with her anxiety. They set up the small table in the living room, paints and brushes laid out before them like a recipe for creativity. As they dipped their brushes into vibrant colors, Emma allowed herself to dream perhaps this was the spark that could ignite her mother's spirit, drawing her back into the light. With every stroke on the canvas, Emma found release. Memories tumbled forth unbidden, her mother's laughter while they painted in the backyard, her encouragement pushing Emma to create even when she felt inadequate. These recollections fueled her determination, reminding her of who Emily had been before illness anchored her spirit. As they painted, Emma glanced at Lily, who was tracing a rainbow across her canvas, utterly absorbed in her world of color. It was an innocent diversion, yet it held the promise of something more profound, a chance for connection, for healing. Hours slipped by, and when night fell, a beautiful, chaotic collection of colors and shapes adorned the paper. Lily beamed with pride, and Emma felt a glimmer of hope ignite within her troubled heart. "Do you think Grandma will smile?" Lily asked, sincerity radiating from her innocent inquiry. Emma nodded, the tightness in her chest loosening slightly. "Yes, sweetie, I think she will." Yet, as she tucked Lily into bed later that night, doubt crept back in. Would exposing this part of her mother's past relieve Emily's burden or add to it? Facing this reality felt like standing on the edge of a precipice, the ground shifting beneath her. The next day, Emma couldn't delay any longer. She snatched the art box from the attic, heart pounding as she opened it. There it was, the light blue apron her mother had worn countless times, splattered with colors that once flowed freely from her brush. Without thinking, she held it to her chest, wondering if it would be enough to rekindle a flicker of happiness in her mother. As she approached her mother's room, the weight of what she was about to do pressed down heavily, uncertainty threatening to crush her resolve. Would Emily embrace the past, or was she too far gone? Steeling herself at the door, Emma whispered, "Mom, it's time we rediscovered your art." The moment of truth had arrived. Emma took a deep breath, ready to face the precipice of vulnerability that awaited them both. Emma stood before her mother's door, hand hovering over the doorknob, the light blue apron pressed against her chest. The faint sounds from inside the room echoed her own apprehension, a muffled sigh, the rustle of sheets, the soft click of a switch. Each sound heightened her uncertainty, amplifying the weight of what she was about to do. Shouldn't she be steeling herself for a confrontation with grief? Discomfort settled in her stomach as she wrestled with the possibility of her mother's confusion or rejection. But she felt Lily's excitement pulse through her, an electric current of hope and possibility. The idea of bridging the abyss between them hadn't just belonged to Emma, it was shared through Lily's unyielding belief that art, with its colors and textures, could coax smiles from shadows. Taking a deep breath, she turned the knob and stepped inside, the familiar, sterile aroma of disinfectant mingling with the distant scent of flowers. The room felt different, yet it held the memories of countless moments shared. Emily lay propped against the pillows, her frail form accentuated by the sunlight filtering through sheer curtains. "Mom," Emma said softly, her voice a gentle rub against the fabric of silence. Emily stirred, blinking slowly as she focused on the figure before her. The daydream of years past merged with the present, and Emma's heart quickened when their eyes met. "Emma," Emily croaked, her voice rough from disuse, the sound bridging the gap of uncertainty that had anchored them in stagnancy. "Lily and I painted something for you," Emma said, the apron now feeling like a talisman of hope. "I brought it to share. But first I thought you might want to wear this." As she unfolded the apron, she held it out, half hoping that the sight of it might spark a flicker of recognition in her mother's gaze. Emily's brow knitted, the corners of her mouth twitching slightly. There was a pause, a heavy, palpable pause that pressed tightly in the stillness of the room. "This I remember," Emily murmured, her fingers grazing the fabric lightly, tremors rippling through her. "It feels like another life." "It was," Emma replied, hastening to bridge that distance. "But art can bring it back. We painted for you a rainbow, Lily's idea." Doubt clawed at Emma. What if the memories that haunted Emily were better left undisturbed? What if the mere act of remembering stung more than it healed? Yet the word rainbow echoed in her mind, a symbol of beauty after rain, of hope and renewal. Can you help me?" Emily's voice came again, quieter now, tinged with a yearning that made Emma's heart swell. "Show me?" Emma felt a rush of adrenaline pulse through her body. This was the opening she'd prayed for, the invitation to step onto the narrow beam leading to Emily's heart. "Of course, Mom," she whispered, her resolve crystallizing. "Let us paint together. Just like before." In that moment, something shifted in the space between them. As Emma set up the small table near the bed, she felt the tide of uncertainty washing away, revealing the solid ground beneath. But as she assembled the colors, a thought pierced through her fresh optimism. What if their shared experience of art was not just healing for Emily, but also for herself? Could allowing herself to act as guide and facilitator of memories rekindle her own lost joy? With the brushes laid out and the canvas prepped, Emma settled on the edge of the bed, the air thick with anticipation mingling with lingering tension. The weight of the moment hung above them, waiting for them to break through. But even as they prepared to paint, doubts lurked in the back of Emma's mind, whispering alternatives. What if the act of creation brought forth old wounds instead of fresh healing? What if rediscovering the past was too painful, even for both of them? The moment grew pregnant with potential, but it would take courage to take that leap. Emma glanced at Emily, searching her mother's eyes for reassurance. "Are you ready?" Emma asked, determination mingling with trepidation. "More than ever," Emily replied, her voice steadier, igniting a spark in Emma's heart. And with that, they plunged into the canvas, the colors swirling not just on paper but also in their hearts, threatening to dissolve the barriers that had kept them apart. But as the first strokes began to take shape, a memory flickered in Emma's mind, a haunting image of the last time they had painted together, their laughter echoing and suddenly overshadowed by the weight of the illness that had followed. Emma shook her head, dispelling the disbelief. The real challenges were yet to come, and the journey toward healing would demand more than mere brushstrokes. The time had come to face the true impact of their choices, each decision intertwining their fates as layers of unresolved emotions bubbled just below the surface, threatening to spill over. What awaited them on the other side of healing was still unknown, and Emma couldn't shake the feeling that the biggest test of all was just beginning. As the first strokes of paint glided across the canvas, Emma felt an intoxicating blend of excitement and fear. Each brush dipped into vibrant colors seemed to infuse her with newfound purpose. Yet, beneath that surface, a tide of uncertainty simmered. Would this act of painting bridge the chasm that had grown wider in the years of silence? Could she coax laughter from the depths of their shared grief? Emily picked up a brush slowly, her fingers trembling as they wrapped around the handle. The faintest smile flitted across her lips, but Emma couldn't ignore the shadows lurking behind those fragile features. Would this creative process erase those shadows, or would they merely paint over deeper wounds, each stroke a potential trigger for sorrow? "Let us start with the rainbow," Emma suggested, her own voice steadier than she felt. "It can symbolize everything we hope for." "Yes, hope. That's what we need," Emily whispered, her gaze focused intently on the blank canvas, as if seeking some hidden answer within its confines. With a shared determination, they began to create. Each brush-filled movement brought forth giggles from Lily, echoing in Emma's mind as she recalled her sister's joy. The vibrancy of color on the canvas mirrored the tenuous joy Emma yearned to resurrect between them. Yet, the deeper they delved into their art, the more Emma felt the weight of memories pressing in. Gone was the carefree spirit they once enjoyed together. The warmth of those past moments was dampened by a list of grievances and the pain of a mother's struggle against illness. As she layered the colors, images filled her thoughts, the laughter that once exploded within these very walls, overshadowed by hospital visits, hushed conversations, and the profound sorrow that suffocated their shared existence. "Mom, remember what you always said about colors?" Emma's voice threaded through the crisp air. "How they can change the mood in a room." Emily's eyes brightened, the faint flicker of recognition igniting. "Yes, every color has its own spirit." "Right. This red feels like passion, and blue like calm. We need to find the right mix to capture the moment." Emma's heart raced as her vision expanded. Could they rebuild something beautiful from the crumbling fragments of their past? As strokes of lavender and ocean blue came together, a sense of catharsis enveloped Emma. She had long thought that the weight of her mother's sickness would define her. Yet, in those moments of creation, the act of painting became a revelation. The colors flowed freely, not just on the canvas, but within Emma herself, awakening forgotten bits of joy and resilience. "It's like a journey," Emily mused, her voice gaining strength. "Every color tells a story, a whisper of who we are." "Yes. And we can tell our story together," Emma replied, feeling a rush of warmth fill the space between them. Each brushstroke felt like a pact, a promise to confront their ghosts hand in hand. Yet, amid the emergence of this beautiful vision, Emma's mind lingered on the fear of asking the deeper questions lurking beneath the surface. Why had they drifted apart? What shadows were still too potent to confront? Would the act of creation provoke long-buried pain or reveal a bittersweet truth? As the canvas took form, the weight of these realizations pressed down on Emma. The challenge of emotionally navigating this painted reflection would require more than colors. It would demand vulnerability, and she sensed that the moment when deeper truths would rise to the surface was drawing close. "I want to add something special," Emma said, steeling herself. "A secret message for you, Mom. Something that's been lost for too long." Emily's eyes widened with curiosity, her face lit as though a flicker of understanding had ignited. "What would that be?" she asked, her voice tinged with intrigue. Emma hesitated, the words perched on the tip of her tongue. This was at one moment of honesty that could fracture or fortify their connection. With a heartbeat steadily drumming in her chest, she answered, "I want to paint a heart. A reminder that no matter how difficult things seem, love still persists." Just as she began to guide the brush toward the canvas, a sudden thought pierced through her clarity. What if love, once so vibrant, had become their shared sorrow? Would evoking it reveal a deeper vulnerability, or would it stir old wounds of resentment? With all these spiraled emotions poised on the brink of revelation, Emma felt the layers of their shared history surrounding them. Tension thickened in the air, ready to burst forth. "Can we truly rebuild something?" she questioned silently as she prepared for the next stroke. Unknowable, yet electric currents coursed between them as if the air itself could answer. But the heart needed to be painted, and she resisted the urge to retreat. This was but the beginning of their journey into discovery. As the brush touched the canvas, she knew they were stepping onto a precarious precipice, teetering between past pain and the hope of healing. The colors swirled with each hesitation, and Emma could no longer deny the implications of what it meant to explore a truth buried for too long. What awaited them in the depths of that heart was both a promise and a challenge. Emma took a breath, ready to confront the tangled mess of their realities and, at last, find out what lay beneath. The brush hovered above the canvas, trembling as the weight of Emma's thoughts pressed in on her. She had almost reached the heart of their shared history, a vital symbol encapsulating love, sorrow, and the yearning for healing. The trembling was not just from trepidation, it was a physical manifestation of the inner conflict surging within her. Each flicker of uncertainty echoed loudly in the stillness of the room. "Breathe," Emma reminded herself, a mantra against the rising tide of fear. This heart needed to represent more than familial love, it needed to reclaim their bond, fractured yet still worthy of repair. But was she ready to unlock the truth that lay within its colors? "Can I help?" Emily's voice cut through Emma's reverie, a gentle nudge towards collaboration that felt both hopeful and daunting. It was a question that held the promise of connection or the risk of rejection. "Yeah, how about we each add a color that represents what this means to us?" Emma suggested, nerves buzzing like summer lightning. "Okay, I'd choose orange." "It feels warm and alive," Emily responded with surprising vigor. The way her eyes lit up at the suggestion encouraged Emma, a flicker of connection they had long been missing. As they began filling the heart, a new rhythm emerged, colors blending and merging into each other, creating a rich tapestry of emotions. With each stroke, the tapestry told a story, weaving their past behaviors, present fears, and the hopeful striving that flickered in the air around them. It felt as if they were rewriting their narrative, transforming the pain into something momentarily beautiful. The imagery painted was no longer just a heart, it morphed into a landscape of their emotions. Emma added a soft shade of yellow to signify optimism, a reminder that despite the heaviness of their journey, there could be tomorrows filled with light. But even as the heart grew more vibrant, Emma felt tension lingering beneath. The heart was a symbol, yes, but it was also a reminder of the unprocessed grief they both had swallowed for far too long. How could they create a masterpiece while ignoring the imperfections of their story? Ignoring the personal conflict felt dangerous. Do you think we could talk about everything while we paint? Emma ventured, her voice barely above a whisper. A shadow crossed Emily's face, the fresh colors brightening against her uncertainty. Like what? Like Mom. Like why we, drifted apart. Emma fought against the instinct to withdraw. This was vital to their healing. Emily hesitated, eyes flickering back to their work. What does it matter now? Isn't it better to focus on the happy things? Emma pressed her lips together, weighing the consequences. We cannot ignore it. It won't disappear just because we paint over it. Her voice firmed with a resolve that surprised her. Realizing this wasn't merely about colors on canvas or recreating past joy, Emma gently probed, what's the secret under this heart? What do we really want to say? Emily's grip tightened on her brush, and for a moment, silence fell heavy between them. Emma's pulse quickened. This was the point of no return. They were navigating uncharted territory, one that could either fracture their tentative bond further or finally begin to mend it. With a deep breath, Emily uttered, maybe I'm scared. Scared of facing the truth of how I feel. A rush of empathy surged through Emma. She too had felt that fear of weakness, fear of vulnerability threatening to unravel her tight grasp on control. Let's put that on the canvas too, Emma proposed, sensing an opening. Let us add a color for fear, one we can paint over when we're ready to overcome it. Emily nodded slowly, her uncertainty still shadowing her features but mingling with a glimmer of hope that perhaps they could confront this together. As they dipped their brushes into darker hues, the true depth of the heart began to reveal itself. Each color had to coexist, the darkness was just as essential to their story as the light. But as their creation unfolded, Emma could feel the challenge hovering over them, an uncharted exploration that demanded integrity and emotional honesty. With each stroke, the realization that some secrets could not be painted over began to settle in. Driven by a newfound determination, Emma worked harder, channeling her own sentiments, attempting to inspire Emily to confront her fear. Together, she whispered, we can face this. Suddenly, Emily's gaze sharpened. What if we acknowledge our pain? What if we let it live alongside our hopes? Emma's heart raced at the thought. This was not just a painting, it was an opportunity to confront their vulnerabilities, forcing truths into the light. As they created, something shifted in the room, an understanding. The heart they built was slowly being transformed from a mere expression to a living testament of their bonds, raw yet radiant. Would this revelation about their willingness to embrace painful truths fortify their connection, or would it fracture the very ground they stood on? Emma felt the weight of that question settle between them, the next stroke of the brush trembling as she prepared to render their intertwined stories into existence. With the canvas becoming a mirror to their buried emotions, Emma could not ignore the uncertainty that lay ahead. What awaited them beyond this moment? An even truer understanding, or perhaps a deeper division? Both outcomes loomed large, and with the heart nearly complete, Emma braced herself for the revelations yet to come. Emma felt the vibrant colors beneath her brush pulse with a life of their own, mirroring the tumult of emotions swirling inside her. Each stroke was a transaction, a negotiation between her desire to bridge the gap with Emily and the heaviness that threatened to pull her back whenever they approached bruised subjects. The weight of unspoken words hung in the air, begging for release. It was both liberating and suffocating, an infusion of hope mixed with the dread of what lay ahead. "Let us not just paint fear, let us face what has kept us apart," Emma proposed, her voice steady but laced with vulnerability. The recognition that Emily shared her trepidations was a lifeline she had long yearned for, yet apprehension bubbled beneath the surface. She couldn't instinctively know what would happen once they dared to confront the past, revealing everything beneath the layers of their artistic endeavors. "Okay," Emily replied, her voice small but resolute. "But where do we even begin? Why don't we start with what happened that day? What triggered everything?" Emma's heart raced. She recognized the gravity of taking such a step. Pulling threads of their trauma could unravel everything they had built, or they could find the strength to weave something new from the remnants. Emily's brush came to a halt, hovering just above the canvas. Emma watched her sister's face as it shifted, a cyclone of emotions playing out in real time. She was grappling with the fear of revisiting a moment that had stained their childhood, the ripple effects of which continued to distort their reality. Emma's own memories were like sharp shards of glass, dangerous yet iridescent, waiting to cut deeper, revealing scars hidden within. "I still don't understand why things had to change," Emily admitted, the pain tinting her words with a rawness that made Emma's heart ache. "Everything was normal before everything spiraled." "Then let us give it voice," Emma said quietly, sensing the tension rising yet feeling a fierce determination to steer them toward catharsis. "Nothing gets fixed until we stop burying it." She took a breath that felt thick in her throat, hoping Emily would see that their collective healing hinged on this moment. A shadow passed over Emily's expression, deepening the lines of conflict on her forehead. "I think I've been too afraid to talk about it because every time I think of Mom, I feel like... I don't know. Like I'll shatter into pieces." Emma's resolve sharpened. She understood shattering. The fear of losing control was something she wrestled with daily, especially since their mother's illness had painted their lives in shades of uncertainty. What lay beneath that fragile surface could no longer remain suppressed. "Let us add that feeling of shattering to the canvas," Emma suggested. "We can embrace it together. It can be part of the heart." Her brush danced toward a grayish hue that felt heavy and true. "This, too, is our bond." As the canvas absorbed the new color, an unexpected energy filled the room, vibrant yet mournful. Emma felt a release as Emily matched her movement, adding strokes that echoed unspoken truths. The heart's edges began to reflect the chaotic beauty of their fractured existence, a refusal to gloss over grief in the pursuit of joy. They worked in silence for a moment, but this silence felt different. It held the weight of acknowledgement and a growing sense of mutual understanding. As they swept their brushes deeper into the grays and blacks, she caught a glimpse of Emily's face shifting. A new resolve seemed to crystallize into place. "Maybe we've been running from something that deserves to be heard," Emily finally whispered, eyes blazing with a ferocity Emma hadn't seen before. In that instant, it became clear, Emily was beginning to reclaim her voice, and Emma felt exhilarated by the prospect that they could forge their own path from fear toward authenticity. "I think it needs to be said aloud, Em." "Every bit of it," Emma urged, emboldened by a newfound clarity that she had not anticipated. "The fear, the love, the anger, everything." As they exchanged a look, an unspoken agreement traversed the air between them. With trembling hands, they both began to write words across the canvas, a blend of colors and letters, painting a confession of the pain and the resilience yet acknowledged. What emerged was not merely a work of art, it was a declaration of identity and shared experience, blending the darkest depths into profound hope. But with every letter, Emma felt the stirrings of a revelation. Confronting the past was a precursor to unearthing the buried truths of themselves. Would their decision to speak boldly etch a fortified bond, or would it expose wounds that had yet to heal? Emma sensed the looming weight of this decision, inequality of consequences igniting a flicker of anxiety in her stomach. As the last letter dried on the canvas, she couldn't shake off the feeling that they were on the cusp of something pivotal. Together, they prepared to excavate further into their shared history. It was time to unearth the secrets that had haunted them, poised to reshape their futures. What truths still waited in the shadows, threatening to emerge? Each unbidden thought fueled her anxiety and curiosity, prompting Emma to question what they had yet to uncover as they stood on the edge of a personal abyss. The air was thick with unspoken questions as Emma and Emily stepped back to observe their canvas, now rich with emotion and layered with meaning. The echoes of their earlier conversation hovered over them, giving weight to the moment. Emma's hands trembled, partly from the exhilaration of creating something beautiful together and partly from the terror of what they were about to confront. "Are you ready to keep going?" Emma asked, her voice steady but her heart uncertain. This was more than making art, it was a proposal to grapple with their past, a challenge steeped in vulnerability. The room felt like a living entity, holding its breath alongside them. Emily nodded, her expression serious. "I think I need to, for both of us." With that acknowledgement, a sense of purpose enveloped them. Emma grabbed a fresh brush and dipped it into a bright yellow paint, the bold color a stark contrast to the somber tones they had been working with. "Light belongs here, too," she said, her voice brimming with resolve. "We need to shine a light on what we can still build from our past." As she began to paint, memories flooded her mind: sunny days in the park, laughter shared over ice cream, and the warmth of family gatherings. They had not always been drenched in the pall of grief, there were pockets of joy that needed just as much attention. It was a resolve to balance both spectrums of their experience, even if the shadows still lingered. Emily picked up her brush, hesitantly mirroring Emma's actions. Each stroke of yellow began to weave together with the dark marks they had made an intricate dance of brightness and shadow. Emma marveled at how the colors interacted with each other, how each hue seemed to acknowledge the other's existence, a reminder that life's fabric was woven from both joy and sorrow. "Remember that camping trip?" Emily asked, her eyes glinting with nostalgia as she infused a patch of orange onto the canvas. "The bonfire, roasting marshmallows?" Emma chuckled softly. "How could I forget? You almost burned your eyebrows off trying to roast that marshmallow. You were so determined." The laughter bubbled up between them as they exchanged memories, the act of creation grounding them, forging connections that had felt cracked before. The act of painting transformed from an emotional burden to a ritual of reconnection. History was still theirs to shape, and as they filled the canvas with vibrant colors, the walls of their shared past felt a little less confining. But as the orange and yellow hues blossomed, a different emotion began to stir within Emma: residual unease. The deeper conversations they had promised still lay ahead. Her progress on the canvas felt paradoxically encouraging and unsettling. Had they truly made room for the entirety of their story, or were they just glossing over the most painful parts? Emily's voice sliced through her inner musings. "We need to talk about what we've avoided. About Mom." The weight of her sister's words could not be underestimated. They had dipped into moments of levity, but the looming specter of their family's pain remained. A cold hand of anxiety gripped Emma's chest. She had felt the churning beneath the need to address the sorrow that lay so deeply woven into their identities. "I know," Emma replied, her voice a whisper. "But can we do it without breaking apart?" A moment of silence stretched between them, heavy and electric. They needed to confront the truth of their shared loss, and although Emma had begun to recognize her creative power through active painting, she wondered how to channel this into the challenge that awaited. "Can we try to paint it first?" she suggested hesitantly, feeling the words hang in the air. "To express our feelings before we talk. Maybe that will help." Emily's brow furrowed briefly, pondering. But then an understanding passed between them, a mutual acknowledgement that creating was fragile yet powerful, and they could explore their feelings through it. With a newfound sense of clarity, Emma picked up her brush and gestured to the canvas. They could blend the pain into their art, giving it shape and form, transforming it into something they could face together. As they began to mix shades that represented grief and confusion, an undercurrent of resolve ignited Emma anew. Yes, confronting their past was daunting, but the act of creation allowed them to repurpose their experiences into something they could learn from. Would they find the strength to face the enormity of their familial wounds, and could art be the conduit for healing? Every flick of the brush beckoned deeper revelations, yet an unsettling thought lingered. What if the truths they unearthed turned out to be more than they could handle? The canvas stretched before them, ready to absorb not only their colors but their buried stories. Each choice stood as a testament to their growth, urging them forward to confront or conceal, to speak or remain silent. Emma clasped her brush tightly, her heart racing as they prepared to illuminate both their pain and the strength that had always thrived beneath it. What would they uncover as they painted the truth? Emma felt the weight of her decision looming, knowing that beyond artistry lay the very core of their identities. The moment had come to strip their emotional facades bare, to reveal the raw, vulnerable facets that had shaped who they were. As Emma stared at the canvas, her heart thudded with a mix of anticipation and dread. The vibrant colors spread across the surface like fleeting moments of joy, and yet, the darker shades that framed them whispered of pain. Her mother's memory loomed large, as indefinable as the hues they'd chosen. Grief had always felt like a lock without a key, and now, with each brush stroke, she was determined to break the silence that bound them. "Let us use the black," Emma suggested, her voice stronger this time. "To represent the grief. It's part of us, isn't it?" She glanced at Emily, who held her brush suspended in disbelief. "I don't know," Emily hesitated. The fear of touching such a raw wound flickered across her face. "It's a part of the picture." Emma pressed on, the thought embedding itself deeply. "We can't paint what we feel if we ignore it. If we're truly going to confront Mom, we have to let everything show." With trepidation, Emily sank her brush into the black paint, creating a bold line across the bottom of the canvas. The visceral feeling coursed through Emma. It was the first time they were visually acknowledging their shared sorrow. It was both terrifying and liberating. As they painted, the atmosphere shifted. The room filled with the scent of fresh paint, mingled with a thick tension. Each stroke became an exploration, a sensation that washed over Emma like cold water. They were layering not just paint but emotion, confusion, anger, and the longing for resolution were imbued within every line and shape. Emma closed her eyes for a moment, inhaling deeply. The memories flooded her, moments when their mother's laughter enveloped them in warmth, overshadowed by the tragic loss. Would transforming these memories into color allow them to exist simultaneously? She rubbed her thumb against the bristles, feeling every texture of doubt and determination. "What color is sadness?" Emily's voice came out in a fragile whisper, breaking through Emma's reverie. Emma opened her eyes, meeting her sister's gaze, an unexplored expression of vulnerability clinging within it. "Maybe it's blue?" she offered, dipping her brush into a deep cerulean and blending it into the black streaks. As the colors migrated and merged, those shades began to pulsate with meaning. Emma could feel how expressing their grief might ignite a catharsis. Would it lead them toward acceptance? The question rattled in her mind, and the weight of their unresolved past pressed down more heavily than before. "Can you remember the last time we laughed with her?" Emma encouraged, wanting to shift the conversation towards the brighter memories. Emily's face softened momentarily. "The ice cream fight in the kitchen? She was so mad, but when we ran outside with our sticky hands, she just burst out laughing." "Let us paint it," Emma urged, her mind racing with creative possibility. As they captured laughter in strokes of soft pink and bright yellow, a new image began to emerge. Yet the sweet relief began to shimmer faintly beneath a fog of uncertainty. Emma couldn't shake the feeling that they were tiptoeing around an abyss that threatened to swallow them. Could these joyous colors defend against the stark black that waited just below? "Why do you think we've avoided this conversation?" Emily's voice broke through the amalgamation of thoughts swirling in Emma's head. "Why do we keep running from it?" Emma's chest tightened. "Because facing it means confronting emotions we're not sure we can handle. I'm scared we'll lose what little we have left." The pieces of her confession fell heavy in the air, charging the moment. "I feel that too." Emily focused on the canvas, adding more spirals of sunshine to the vibrant chaos. "But maybe that's what we need to lose the fear. Maybe we have to go in, together." The echo of mutual commitment to face their past rang clear between them, igniting a pulse of daring hope. They were standing at the precipice of their creative journey, and for the first time, the possibility of transforming their pain into something more meaningful felt tangible. As they painted, the lightness and darkness began to speak to each other, entwining like a delicate dance, hinting that they might not be as alone as they felt in their healing. Emma's heart raced with both fear and excitement. They might be on the verge of uncovering a truth that lay buried under layers of repression, the very essence of who they were. In that moment, she realized, it wasn't just about the art. It was about reclaiming their identities. The thought loomed before them. What deep and startling truths would emerge when they fully embraced their past? Emma felt an unmistakable shift within her spirit, and she understood that progress would demand more than creativity, it required raw honesty. As they pressed on, the suspense of revelation hung heavily in the air. Would they summon the courage to confront their demons as well as their joys? Emma felt the collective breath of the room rise, ready to unleash whatever lay beneath the surface. But would they be ready for what awaited them? The gravity of their journey began to settle, and with it, the gnawing question surfaced. Were they prepared to paint the real truth of who they were, in all its beautiful and painful complexity? Colors began to merge on the canvas, swirling together to form patterns that told their own stories. Emma felt a growing tension within. Each stroke was a conversation both sisters had been avoiding, a dialogue more profound than words could convey. Now, as the shades connected, she recognized this artistic expression was, in itself, a reckoning. Every brushstroke conveyed what had long been repressed, shaping emotions into tangible forms. With each vibrant mix, her heart raced with a blend of anticipation and anxiety. Could they truly unlock the depths of happiness and sorrow? Emma leaned closer, her fingers smudging colors as she blended blues into yellows, creating a murky green that felt representative of their muddled emotions. The intersections of joy and grief echoed the complexities of their relationship with their mother, beautiful yet chaotic. "Do you really think we're ready for this?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper as she probed at Emily's commitment to this task. "I think I'm tired of pretending," Emily admitted, intently considering the canvas. A flicker of resolve crossed her face. "Let us just be honest. If we make these colors shout, maybe we can let them speak for us." Emma nodded, feeling a surge of adrenaline. This was about more than a painting, it was about healing and confronting their history, their pain, and their bond. But with the vulnerability of honesty came a haunting question: what if their truths shattered the fragile equilibrium they had relied upon? The contemplation lingered as they painted, her thoughts reverberating around the need for real authenticity not just on the canvas, but in their lives. Emma started layering white over the chaotic colors, determined to let light in despite the darkness surrounding it. "I think each of these colors needs to show both sides, the light and the dark," she said as she beckoned Emily to add highlights. "It's a representation of us." The tension in the air shifted. Somehow, they were not merely reflecting their past but actively reshaping it. Creating a vision filled with vulnerability made the stakes feel impossibly high. What if dissecting their emotional landscape revealed fissures too vast to bridge? Did the risk of painful truths outweigh the potential for liberation? As they continued to fill the canvas with vibrant hues, the foundation of fear gave way to excitement. Emma's heart raced. Was this the beginning of understanding their mother not just as a figure of sorrow but as a tapestry of strengths and flaws, of laughter and stifled pain? "Maybe we should ask ourselves what we really want to remember about her," Emma urged, encouraging Emily to divert from mere recreation. "What emotions do we want to keep alive?" A thoughtful silence settled as Emily considered this deeper dive. "I remember her hugs. She could make everything feel better." But Emily's voice trailed off. "It's easier to focus on the sadness, isn't it? That's what lingers in my mind." "We have to balance it," Emma responded, her conviction igniting once more. "Grief is heavy, but love is heavier. It needs to shine brighter through the hurt." As if agreeing with her inner feelings, the canvas began to reflect their duality, yellows bursting forth from darkness, hints of joy weaving through the shadows. Suddenly, amidst the color interplay, Emma glimpsed a flicker of truth. She felt the sensation of her mother's laughter curling around her heart, a reminder that even in absence, love permeated their existence. Yet the profound realization grasped Emma: confronting their truth wasn't just necessary, it was essential for growth. Would Emily understand how crucial this was? Could they both step away from their fears long enough to achieve clarity? The uncertainty loomed large, but clarity gave way to inspiration. They were in the midst of crafting a narrative that could define their futures. As they instinctively reached for brighter colors, a rush of exhilaration propelled Emma forward. She was beginning to glimpse the edges of a truth so powerful she could almost feel it vibrate through her fingertips. Their emotions were not merely black or white, they were the spectrum of what being human encapsulated. What awaited them at the end of this painting was unfathomable. Emma felt the need to challenge herself, to dig deeper. Perhaps even find the very essence of what was left unresolved, lay bare the lessons from grief, the nuances of love. The urgency pulsated in her veins. As they dipped their brushes into the vibrant array before them, Emma wondered what would emerge once they fully ventured into the shadows and light of their shared experience. The moment of revelation beckoned. What would they truly uncover if they dared to face the memories they clung to and those they wished to forget? In the depth of artistic expression, the point of confrontation lingered, waiting for them to seize. Would they embrace the unraveling truths together? The weight of the moment pressed down on Emma as her brush danced across the canvas, mirroring the intricate emotions swirling within her. They had traveled far, from buried pain to vibrant, expressive creation. The act of painting, once merely a means of escape, evolved into a powerful conduit for confronting their past. Each stroke breathed life into their shared experiences, intertwining their stories in a tapestry of color and emotion. "Let us add something that embodies forgiveness," Emma proposed, daring to challenge the boundaries of their canvas, their dialogue and themselves. "It's time we make room for understanding." She feared what this endeavor might unearth, yet she couldn't ignore that reshaping their narrative depended on embracing every emotion that defined them. "I've never thought about that," Emily replied softly, her eyes fixed on the hues evolving before them. "Forgiveness feels distant." "Not if we paint it together," Emma encouraged, determination fueling her resolve. "Let us create a shade that symbolizes the hope of letting go." She reached for a soft mint green, a representation of renewal, a rebirth of relationships that were hard-worn by pain. It was an act of courage, vulnerable and fierce, as she dipped her brush into the paint. Emily joined her, intertwining strokes of their chosen color with deeper shades, a blend that responded to their past, carrying the bittersweet weight of love and hurt. As the colors melded under their brushes, hope flickered alive, a tangible reminder that healing was possible, though not without the scars etched behind their bravado. As they painted, memories surfaced, flooding Emma's mind, late nights spent in whispered conversations, moments of laughter rising in their household, where light once overshadowed darkness. Each cherished memory intermingled with those heavy burdens they carried, revealing the complexities of their familial bond. "Do you remember when we made breakfast for Mom's birthday? I spilled flour everywhere." Emily's laughter rang out, laced with nostalgia. "Of course." And she pretended to be horrified while secretly loving it. "That was such a special day," Emma smiled, relishing the playful recollection that stumbled forward. It dawned on her that creating new memories alongside old ones illuminated their shared vulnerability, while forgiveness beckoned them toward reconciliation. As moments of warmth spilled over, Emma felt a shift within herself, a dawning realization that these emotional revelations might help bridge the gap between fractured hearts. But the lurking weight of their unvoiced pain still threaded through the air. Would confronting the shadows bring unbearable pain or create a newfound connection? Emma's heart raced as she began to grapple with this important truth. "Forgiveness begins with acknowledging the hurt," Emma stated, her voice steadying as she approached the intimate heart of their creation. "We must honor our memories while also accepting what it means to let go." Emily nodded, determination evident in her posture. "Okay. I think I'm ready for that." Her fingers grasped the brush firmly, as if to signify her readiness for this leap of self-discovery. "I'll start," Emma promised, recalling the myriad of emotions concealed within their past: resentment, regret, but above all hope. Dipping her brush into a deeper shade representative of their shared struggles, she marked a bold line that proclaimed the complexity of their journey. This line was a bridge, a connector, a refusal to forget. They painted together, blending those lines of darkness into warmth. Each mark became a testament to their resilience, a recognition that the road ahead would be filled with reconstructed moments. They were transforming their grief into gratitude, exploring the shadows that had long embittered them. As the canvas came alive with their intertwined strokes, Emma could sense a change in the atmosphere. The air grew lighter, buoyed by the tangible essence of their journey, the colors reflecting not only the moments of sorrow but also the whispers of joy that resonated within them. And then came the moment, an epiphany that awakened their shared spirit. "This heart we're painting, it represents everything," Emma articulated slowly. "It's layered. It holds our pain, love, laughter, and now our desire to heal." The act of creation shifted, the burden of the past had transformed into freedom. It wasn't just about the artwork taking shape, it heralded a new chapter in their bond. Each mark laid the foundation for what Emma sensed was a shift toward reconciliation. "Let us step back," Emily breathed, nerve vibrating with anticipation. As they moved away from the canvas, the expansive creation before them spoke volumes, the heart intertwined with their history, weighted but bright, an openness towards shared healing. For the first time, Emma felt a grounding steadiness within herself. Individually, they were imperfect; together, they were a collage of progress. An identity forged across shared memories, stitched with the belief that forgiving, a desire to embrace the whole story, could together illuminate the cracks between them. Touched by the colors beneath their fingertips, they faced each other, emotions spilling forth. "Thank you," Empty whispered, words ringing with sincerity. "For pulling us through. We did it together," Emma affirmed, treasuring the moment. Nothing could extinguish the dawning appreciation that reverberated between them, a permission to love each other outside the confines of sorrow. "Let us keep painting," Emily proposed enthusiastically. "Can we capture the memories we want to cherish the most?" "Yes," Emma exclaimed, inspiration coursing through her. It was a commitment to not just confront the past but seize the future, to reclaim their joyful moments and redefine connections. They stood in the radiance of possibility, ready to draw from every thread of their experiences and create new narratives teeming with warmth, hope, and authenticity. As they launched into the vivid canvas again, Emma understood that this creative process reached beyond mere strokes of paint. It was an oath to embody resilience and illuminate the shadows. With their voices echoing in harmony, they were sculpting the living testament of their bond, anchored by forgiveness, hope, and a profound affection for one another. The heart that pulsed on the canvas became a powerful affirmation of their shared journey, deeply rooted in the past yet beautifully, irrevocably transformative. They stood on the cusp of healing, bravely turning the page toward a shared tomorrow. In those colors, Emma felt liberated, born anew in strength, her narrative pivoting toward the light as possibilities swirled between them. They were at the brink of authentic connection, proving they could foster joy beneath the storm and take bold steps toward a shared healing future. For the first time, the uncertainty felt beautiful. And with every stroke, Emma knew she and Emily were finally ready to face the unfolding journey together, weaving unity amid the complexities they still had yet to explore. With courage ignited and renewal embraced, they would transform their shared heritage into a masterpiece of love, laughter, and lasting connection. The day had come not just to paint their story, but to honor it wholeheartedly. This moment captured, cherished, marked a chapter of tangible achievement, a testament to individual growth and transformation embraced. Emma stood taller, confidence blossoming, her heart alight with hope for all that lay ahead. No longer shackled by the burdens of grief, Emma emerged from this transformative endeavor, embodying the strength of forgiveness, resilience, and love, elements that would forever color the canvas of her life. And as the final colors blended seamlessly, she felt the weight of her past shifting ever closer to understanding, imbued within every stroke, echoing a promise of new beginnings. Time began to drift, but Emma felt ready to grasp every moment ahead, anew. She knew the best was yet to come. You need to subscribe now to not miss these life-changing transformations. This is the moment to show your support. Leave a like now to fuel the algorithm and bring more stories of hope to the surface. Comment with your reactions and thoughts about this conclusion. What did you think? What resonated with you? Don't wait even one more second to share this remarkable journey with at least 5 friends who need to witness this inspiring triumph. Let's spread the light together.